Me here in the studio. We are live together. The Boss Lady Chronicles has come to the reading circle. So good morning, Ericka.
Good morning. May I say thank you, Jesus?
I know that's right.
What a way to start a day. What a way to start a day. I mean, you wake up and when you get that inspiration.
That's right.
It gets you ready.
You're right.
It gets you ready.
For me to get here by 6, for me to be on the air up and running by 6, my alarm, I have it set for 4:20 on Saturday mornings. Mm-hmm. Saturday is the earliest I get up each week.
Right.
Because the rest of the week I get up around maybe 6. Mm-hmm. But Saturdays I get up at 4:20 and I'm like, ugh. By the time I hit the shower, get out the house, get here by 5:30, 5:45, so get everything up and going. I'm kind of like, ugh. But once I get the music or either whoever I'm talking to, the guest in, a whole nother energy comes on.
I'm telling you, you're right.
And it's like I leave out of here in a totally different place than whenever I walked in the door. And, people ask me, why do you get up that early? And I just put it on the social media. It's called passion.
Right.
I don't get paid for this. This is a volunteer gig. But you know what? It's a unique opportunity. For those of us that do radio,
yes,
everybody can't do that.
No. And it takes, it's something that you own, outside of what you have to do.
Right.
You don't have to do this.
That's
you
right.
want to do this.
That's right.
So a lot of people aren't able to do what they want to do.
No, it is. And
they don't understand that they can do, what they want to do.
And I know with technology now, I mean, it's to the point now where we can podcast at home if we want to, but both of us are blessed to be in studios.
Yes.
Ericka's in a studio, and I'm in a studio, so we're heard on, around the world on our various websites, as well as on FM radio. We heard both ways. So, I mean, everybody don't get a chance to do that. So we are grateful and we are thankful. And I'm always excited when I have the opportunity to partner with it because we actually do have some fun.
We certainly do. You're about to be a triple threat. You came twice already. Well, now we're 2 for 2. So we're doing good.
There you go. We've evened it up.
Yes.
So what's going on? I'll tell you what, we'll do a couple of things. One, I want to talk a little bit about your books because Ericka is also an author along with being a talk show host, along with being a teacher. As well as working now with the, you're working with the, what is it?
I have a new show, Chicks and Flicks.
That's the one I've been seeing.
Show.
Okay, so you had the Boss Lady Chronicles, and you have the Chicks and Flicks.
Yes.
Okay, so and are you still working with the kids?
I am. I'm a director at Exodus Baptist Child Care.
That's the one I was talking about.
Okay, on 12th Avenue in Patterson. So, I can't stay out of Patterson. I really, my heart is there. So, it was something not planned. But to be in a church, same thing. I'm getting up and going to work, but I'm going to a sanctuary. And it's it really feels like that. It's very peaceful. So
that's right.
Yeah.
So Ericka and I met. Let's see, I went into education in 2000, and my first assignment in education was at Patterson Public School number 6. And Ericka and I, both of us taught language arts. There was 4 sections in 8th grade, 2 sections of language arts, 2 sections of math. So Ericka taught 1 section of it, language arts, and I taught the other section. And then we had 2 math teachers. We had Miss Jones, and we had Mr. Thompson and Miss Huron. And we had those years we were there, as challenging as the kids could be, we still had fun.
Right.
We really did. I mean, I don't know the way things are in teaching right now. I don't know if I would enjoy being a teacher with all the restrictions, parameters, and boundaries and scripts and this, that, and the other. I'm not sure if I would actually enjoy it. I would love it for the kids.
Right.
But I'm not sure if I would like it for everything else that we have to put up with and do. Mm-hmm. But during that time when we were there, we really did have a good time together.
Yes, we did. We were able to be creative.
Right.
It really, it matters more that when you see your students now, they can come to you and say what you meant to them.
That's right.
And that really is what it was about.
You're right.
You know? So, because now being back there, I'm right around the corner. And I see
know you running
the students, with their children, and I just feel like it's not a coincidence that I'm there. I'm there for a reason.
That's right.
And it was different.
I ran into Shaki. Matter of fact, I think Shaki goes to my church now. I'm not sure. I'm almost sure it's because I've seen him there a few Sundays. Okay. But I saw him and I said, Shaki, how old are you now? He said 30. I said 30.
I know. Yes, I know.
Like, wow, I had him in 8th grade, and now he's talking about he's 30.
When I see people and they, when they say that, I said, well, I didn't have you as a first grader. You were already halfway to where you are now. So, it makes me feel a little bit better.
I know that's right. Like, okay, you were at least 13, 14 right. Then there. That's right. So, but yeah, it's something. So let's talk a little bit about your books. You got what are you on? Your third or fourth or fifth book now?
I'm on my sixth book.
You're on your sixth book.
On my seventh book. I have 6 books already. And during the time that I was at school 6 is when my first book actually came out. And I kept telling my students, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to write a book. And, for them to see the progression and me continuing to say that I was going to do something and actually do it, I think, that's good. My cousin had passed, and when she passed, I was expecting my son and had him the same week that she died the following year. So I wanted to do something for her, and I love to write, so I decided to write a book about somewhat loosely based on her life and mine. And that's where it all started. And as you can see, being here 16 years later, once it starts, it does not ever end. You keep going. I know that's right. You keep going, no matter what.
And don't mind me, because I'm audience, you know what to do. Get on all your social media sites. Let somebody know that Ericka Monique Williams is on the air with me. I'm doing that as she's talking. Yeah. I'm actually shooting it out to all my social media sites that she is on the air, that they need to tune in to gobrave.org. And if they're in the northern New Jersey area, 88.7 FM on the radio.
Yes, join us.
And since she is live in the studio, if you want to ask her any questions between 9 and 9 o'clock, you can call. Because when I have a guest on the air, I don't like on the telephone, I don't like fooling around with trying to get guests on and the callers. Somebody may get dropped. But when they're live in the studio, you can call in. So it's 973-720-2738. If you want to talk to Ericka, 973-720-2738. So you're on your 7th book.
Yes.
All right. Are they a series?
Actually, there are 2 series. So the first book, All That Glitters, has a sequel, Shining Star. And then there is a trilogy, A Woman Scorned. And then there is a single book, which is my first and only at this point all male main characters, called The Robin Hoods. So those are the 6. And I'm about to do the sequel to The Robin Hoods, which is called Stolen Dreams. And the spin-off to the A Woman Scorned trilogy, which is called Psychotic.
All right, so where do you get your ideas from? Where is the creativity? You're an English major, language arts major, or what have you. So, but where does the creativity and imagination coming from? Okay,
so initially when my cousin passed away, it was very early in the HIV/AIDS era. The beginning. They had just really named the disease, and I wanted to explain to little girls or young ladies, not little girls, but to young ladies that it's not all about your looks. So my cousin was very pretty, and unfortunately that became somewhat of a curse for her, because she was only told how pretty she was. She wasn't told how smart she was, and no disrespect to my aunt, but my aunt and my mom were raised in the same household. Their parents were immigrants from Jamaica. So they grew up like sisters in the same house. Everyone who came from Jamaica moved into the apartment where my mom grew up in Harlem. But they were first cousins. And they both moved to Jersey. So everybody was, when they moved on up, like the Jeffersons, they moved over to Jersey. So a lot of my aunts and uncles moved to Teaneck, New Jersey. But we were so close to New York. So, my aunt would pretty much stay in New York. She would run her numbers, and she would have that nightlife and that bar life. And my mom got married, and she had more of a housewife life. So my mom was a little more strict on me. So she said, I don't care how cute you think you are, you're going to get an education. And my cousin, she was just more of the you're pretty. So I wanted to express that it's not about your looks, all that glitter, of course, is not gold, and you must have something on the inside, because we see a lot of young ladies who right now, this is really a time for me to start pushing this book again. Right. Unfortunately, we are giving our children, our girls, a misconception that it is still all about your looks, and it's not. So, that's how that was born. And then Shining Star came After the character had passed, the character based on my cousin Naja, whose name was Asia, and my character was Mika, and I wanted to deal with other social issues, addiction, right. Family dysfunction, everything that crosses color barriers, that we all have dealt with in some way. There's 6 degrees of separation. We all know a family member who needs help. Shining Star came, though, when although I went to the church on my own at around 13 as a social thing. A lot of kids go, back then we went to hang out in the basement while everything was going on. We're sitting down there chatting. Right. But I was there, I wasn't brought up there, but I became born again, I would say, around the time maybe 99. Okay. My son was 4. I started going back to the church. And Shining Star really is about deliverance, being delivered from whatever. We all have an issue that we can be delivered from. Right. If we realize that, this is the thing that we have to take up our cross.
That's right.
For other people, so we're not supposed to be ashamed. I had some issues really in being in a school system and writing a book like I wrote. Right. All That Glitters was very raw. It had profanity in it, sex in it, drugs in it, but I knew in my heart that the goal was to reach people where they are and bring the message of redemption and deliverance. That's really all the underlying theme of all of my books.
Right. And see, the interesting thing, 2 things. You were talking about we all have issues. A couple Sundays ago, there was a guest pastor that came to my church, and his subject was raise your hand if you have issues. Mm-hmm. And of course, everybody should have. I don't know if everybody did, but everybody in the church hand ought to have gone up because there is no human being alive that doesn't have issues. I'm reading a book right now. Matter of fact, whenever you walked in, when I saw your text, I was actually reading it. And it's called The Book of Joy, Lasting Happiness in a Changing World. And it's by the Dalai Lama and Bishop Desmond Tutu. Oh, okay. And now that's 2 holy men, quote unquote. Right. And they're talking about they have issues. Right. That's what they're talking about in the book. Right. They're talking about they're the holy men, quote unquote. They have issues. So absolutely. The other thing is that you were just saying about writing the book at the time when we were in the class. I reference you all the time. I've been on the show 16 years, and like I said, you were one of my first guests during that time frame. And there's something that you said during that time when you wrote your book that has always stuck with me, and I've referenced it many times. As a matter of fact, I referenced it last week because my guest last week was an erotica writer. Okay. Mandy Rain. And Mandy was on the show last week, and we were talking about writing for erotica. And one of the questions I asked her was when people read the book, did they confuse the characters in the book with you? Right. And she says, yeah, they do. And I always talk about, I remember when you said when you wrote the first book, like your neighbors would look at you cross-eyed. Right. You come out and they were like... Yes. Yeah. Even some, what's funny too, some of the students started reading the book in school. A few of them had it. And I know some of the teachers were like, I know one of the teachers, I won't say any names, because we had silent reading at the beginning. That's right. And took the book from the students and you can't read this. And I couldn't, I was... A lot of parents might see me because there was a bookstore right there or around the corner from Broadway Pizza. I can't think of Black Expressions. Black Expressions, that's right. They were on Main. That's right. They're down on Lower Main. Mm-hmm. And at one point, I think, matter of fact, during that same time frame, Kuji Chagaliga existed on Ellison Street. So that was a bookstore as well. But yeah, Black Expressions was definitely Lower Main. So I would be out there maybe on a Saturday selling my books, and some parents would come by, buy the book, give it to their child, and that was the parents' decision. Right. It may not have been appropriate in the school, and that's fine. That was the teacher's discretion. Right. But I couldn't be in the school selling my books. Right. I couldn't do that. Right. But some of the parents, they condoned their children reading that book at that time. So it was really like it was like skating on thin ice. Well, this is the thing I was telling Mandy last week, and this is kind of like my view, and I really don't care who agrees with it and who don't. But life is life. Right. One day, because I play music in the mornings at my school, so one day I had the Pandora channel on, and Marvin Gaye's "Let's Get It On" came on. Teachers were calling downstairs. Do you know what's on? Do you know what's on? Do you know what song is on? And I said, let me help you understand something. in comparison to what these kids hear today, Marvin Gaye's "Let's Get It On Now" sounds like a hymn.
Right.
I mean, "Let's Get It On" compared to what the kids hear today. Yes. I mean, because the raps and the lyrics today are straight up vulgar. Yes. I mean, there was some stuff we couldn't say on radio. I mean, I'm not going to say it here, on the station, but there are things that are coming across in music that 40, 50 years ago just was prohibited. Mm-hmm. So my point was "Let's Get It On" is nothing compared to...
We should go back to that. Leave something to the imagination.
Right.
How about that?
There you go. There's nothing left to the imagination. So my point is life is life. I mean, folks are exposed to it when it is, so to try to pretend.
Right.
And that's what I was telling men. Because whenever I have Christian authors on here, and I remember your commentary, that folks say they have sex scenes in their book. And they talk about, the church members or the pastor or whatever turn their back on them. It's like, well, how did we get here?
Right.
How did we come about then? I don't understand it. If any place sex ought to be talked about, it ought to be the church. Right. Back to your point of your cousin was just told, "You're pretty, you're pretty, you're pretty."
Right.
But nobody told her. And see, that could have been a conversation that happened in somebody's church. Look, girls, boys, this is the reality of life.
Right.
All right.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I reference you quite frequently in terms of audience reaction.
Well, thank you. See, it takes being brave, and knowing that sometimes you have to take those, looks and all of those things when you know that you're on a mission to accomplish something, and everybody may not understand the mission that you're on.
Right.
You have to stand alone sometimes, and when you can be comfortable, because everybody's not going to like everything.
Right.
They're not going to understand everything, and some people are not even comfortable with their own mess.
Well, that's true.
They're not. So when they see you being brave enough to deal with yours, the nerve. How can she be so free? How can she not be ashamed?
This is true. If you've just joined us, you're listening to WP 88.7 FM, Brave New Radio. You can hear us around the world on gobrave.org. My guest this morning is Ericka Monique Williams. She's also the host of the Boss Lady Chronicles and what is it? Chicks and Flicks. Chicks and Flicks. Yes, all right. So she has two shows that she's hosting there. And what station are you on?
We're on njwebradio.com.
And I just pulled it up. I just saw it, so I should know. It was njwebradio.com. You can catch her there on Fridays.
Friday mornings from 11 to 2.
I had it right. I said it earlier before you got here. And I said, I know it's 11. I've been on here a couple times, but that's the hours from 11 to 2 on Fridays.
Yes.
New Jersey Web
Radio.com. njwebradio.com.
There you go.
Yes.
All, no gaps, no spaces. njweb, that's WEB, radio.com.
Yes.
That's what we're talking about. We're talking about Ericka's books, and they've worked their way up to now book 7.
Yes. So with the radio show, I've been able to have a new platform.
Right.
It's all media,
right?
And I'm making my way through. So I've got the paperback, the print media, and now I have the audio.
Right.
So now we're visual. A lot of things. Even though you're on radio, we're doing Facebook Live a lot, but we are going to be live streaming soon on YouTube as well. Chicks and Flicks. You can find us on live at truthvibetv.com, channel 1, on Saturdays from 5 to 7. And that's where we discuss a lot of the reality shows and a lot of the current events, news stories. We critique the shows, or we relate them to our real personal lives, and we talk about a lot of topics. So I'm really enjoying it. I guess the next thing I have to do would be magazines, maybe. I don't know.
But you know what? It's all related.
Yeah,
I've had this conversation. Speaking, writing, and what's the other one? Reading, writing, and speaking. Right. They're all related.
Those are all of the categories of language arts.
They really are.
The components. Back when we were at school 6, it was reading, writing, viewing. Remember, we had the viewing component where they would critique film. I'm also in film, so I'm acting as well. So basically, I am working on pitching a Woman Scorned trilogy for television now. I have the sizzle reel, 2 of them. I have a 5-minute and a 1-minute, and I will be shopping them for TV, and hopefully starring as the main character. Tyler Perry can't be the only one that does it.
I know that's right.
So that's what I'm doing right now. So I have not written. I started writing my 7th book. I am to release it next year.
All right.
So at this time, my priority, besides for the radio show and the Chicks and Flicks show, is really getting A Woman Scorned on television. Okay, now you just mentioned Facebook Live, and you reminded me, because usually whenever I don't have my little handy stand with me today, right. But normally whenever I go to Ericka's station, we Facebook it live. When she said that, she just reminded me. So I'm doing that right now. We're streaming live. That's right. I see a couple people have already tuned in. Good morning to you. So we're doing that. Ericka Monique Williams is on with me. We're talking about her radio show. We're talking about her books. We're talking about in general. Let's see. Get on all your social media sites. I just, interestingly enough, I just put on my sites, because one thing, I'm not promoting Hootsuite, but that is the vehicle I use, because it sends out the messages to all of my sites at once. So a lot of people think I'm on Facebook all the time. I'm like, no, I don't go on Facebook. I send everything through Hootsuite. Right. So whenever I do that, it goes to all my sites. So I just put on there, I don't know about you, but I'm waiting to be discovered. Absolutely. And guess what? It's never too late. It's never too late. That's another thing people don't get. Right. They don't get it. Right. If I'm here, I'm breathing. Right. Am I still want to do I still want to do it? That's right. You know what I mean? You don't lose that passion. And there are plenty of stories of people who didn't. I mean, even if you look at some of the actors, like Samuel L. Jackson was a little older. We're not going to say old. That's not in my vocabulary. No, it's not in mine either. It really is not. It's all about what you think. No, it really is. And a part of that book that I just told you about, the whole thing about joy, that's exactly what the two, because both of those men are in their 80s. Right. The Dalai Lama as well as Desmond Tutu, they're in their 80s. But the truth of the matter is, the inner of us doesn't age. Right. Now, the outer, the body, the physical, it does, but the inner of us don't. No. And so you're right. That's why I don't get caught up in age either. I really don't. I don't discuss it. I don't think about it. People want to throw it at you. No. Curveball. You go that way. Oh. Yeah, I can't. Because when you get caught up in that time, right. Then it's so urgent. Right. You feel like it's a rush. The whole process is just laying out. It's like the yellow brick road. As you were, as they were walking, and the lights illuminated to where they were supposed to go, and that's how it is. We're planning these things that are behind us are only a part of the path towards where we're going. Right. So if you don't start today, I don't know. I know that's right. Well, I tell you what, I see a whole bunch of people join very quickly. Renee Lee, good morning. Tandra Jackson Blackwell, good morning. Valerie Hunter, good morning. Elaine Silverstein, good morning. There's a whole bunch of you there that joined in. Good morning to you. All right. That's good. All right. So what's going on now? Chicks and Flicks. Let's talk a little bit about that. Okay. What's Chicks and Flicks about? What do you give me the format of what do you do? Invite different chicks or what? What's the deal? We haven't. Okay. So let me see where. So we talked about All That Glitters and Shining Star. A Woman Scorned is the trilogy that's going to TV, right? Okay. So from me writing books and leaving teaching in 2015, I started blogging. Right. So once I started blogging, I met another girl who was on the team, the blogging team, and she started having a radio show. So I said, "Oh, you've got a radio show. Does he need anybody?" Right. So I met with the studio manager, station owner, and I started my show. And this is how I reinvented myself. Okay. Okay. All right. So just, from having books and everybody says, "Oh, she writes books. But now I had a platform. Absolutely. You know what I mean? So from the from the radio show, I got a call and someone had started a mobile app, which is the new thing now. Right. Everybody has the apps. We don't even have to turn the TV on anymore. And asked me through my radio show, did I want to host my own show.
Right.
So I started shooting Circles with Ericka Williams, and the studio closed down. So I had 15 episodes, and I knew someone else who has a network, and I reached out to him in terms of getting my footage and editing my footage for me. You know, things didn't work out. And he told me that he had another show. Right. You know, so you see how you're going in one direction for something else, and then something else comes out of it. So he said, well, I'm going to start a show, and it's called Chicks and Flicks. And I'm like, I want to do it. Right. I didn't even know what it was. Right. You know, I'm in. So he said, you know, basically we watch film. You know, we just basically critique the new film critics. Okay. You know? Oh,
so you're kind of like, what was it? Siskel and Ebert?
Yes.
Oh, okay. You're kind of like the female version of Siskel and Ebert. Gotcha.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because we start our first show, we talked about the movie Get Out.
Okay.
Yeah, so we do movies and television shows as well as news stories. Okay. You know, we're picking up all the things that are going on, and we're talking about them.
Oh, it's a lot going on.
You know, yeah, and I really enjoy it. And it's something that someone else is producing, so I kind of feel like, okay, I might be onto something. Because when you're doing your own stuff, and nobody's coming, you're like, I told you,
I told you, I'm looking to get discovered, but you're absolutely right. I mean, so you got to make the connections.
Right, exactly.
Barbara Topley, good morning to you. I see you've checked in also.
Good morning. Yeah, so, you know, so it's something that I'm doing that someone else is producing, and it's kind of, you know, just continuing to validate and confirm for me that this is what I should be doing, because someone else wants me to do something. It's not just me saying, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. You know what I mean? Sometimes we have to question, you know, is this for me?
Right.
Just because I think it's for me. Right. You know, when other people start to recognize you.
Right.
Right. You know you're on the right path.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah. So that's what we're doing. So it's Saturdays from 5 to 7. We're live at truthvibetv.com, channel 1.
Oh, Chicks and Flicks is TV.
Yeah.
I thought that was radio as well.
No.
Okay, good for you. So so we got Boss Lady Chronicles as radio. And Chicks and Flicks is TV.
Yes.
All right, now how can folks tune in to see you on Chicks and Flicks?
Okay, you go to truthvibetv.com. It's still internet.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
But it's just visual. And on Saturdays we're on from 5 to 7, and then we post the links up after for people who missed the show. They can watch the show. So we've done 5 shows already. So I want to shout out Kizzy Franklin and Truth, who's Daryl Smalls. He runs Truth Vibe, the network, Truth Vibe TV. Actually, we're having a launch party next Saturday, the 17th, in Hackensack. At General Poor's. It's a restaurant. So, you know, anyone who may be interested in coming out and meeting the other shows, because he has about at least 5 shows on the network now. Okay. But you never know if he's looking for more shows.
Well, see, that's the thing. So, you never know.
Right. See,
you're absolutely
that's another thing that people don't get. Oh, I'm not in that. I'm not going to that.
Right.
You get there, and then the conversation comes up of what you'd like to do, and then the person might say, I have a slot.
No, you're absolutely right.
You have to position yourself. You have to.
That's absolutely right. And you just never know when something's going to be the one thing that does it. Yes. The one thing that takes you over the top.
Everybody wants to knock on your house, on your door at home.
Right.
Like it doesn't happen like that.
No, it doesn't.
You got to go out.
I'm glad you said it, because the bottom line is you got to do your homework. You got to put the time in. You got to put the work in. You cannot be making excuses. And like you just said, if you're waiting for the opportunity, it's not going to come to you.
No, it's not.
Opportunity comes to those who hustle. You got to get out there. You got to hustle. You got to get your name out there. And like you just said, it's never too late. And I'm doing the same thing. I mean, everybody I come in contact with, if it's something that's writing in terms of blogging, if it's something that's media, radio, something that's TV like that, I'm on it as well. Right. But you got to keep doing that.
Yes.
And you cannot give up. And you cannot think, oh, well, you know, it's never going to happen. No, you got to do it just the opposite.
We actually were just invited to do a red carpet premiere as Chicks and Flicks We went to Newark. Newark is really coming up with Ras Baraka,
right?
The mayor,
right.
He's really opening up a lot of stuff. And so now there's a theater, Cityplex 12, that is showing a lot of independent films.
Okay.
And we did the premiere on Wednesday. So now we're posting up the interviews with the cast. And we're doing another one on June 29th. There's another independent film that will be there called Lost Souls. So we're going out on location. It's moving.
I know that's right. If you've just joined us, and we are live streaming on Facebook, thank you for reminding me.
Yes.
We are live streaming on Facebook as well. My guest is Ericka Monique Williams. She's a Renaissance woman. She's had, like you just heard her say, we try what we need to do to keep moving. I personally don't believe. And for those of you who only do one thing in life, I'm not mad at you. That's your thing. That's your thing. Right. But for me personally, I like to do many things. I like to experience many things, try new things, get involved, do different things. And if it don't work out, it don't work out. If it works out, it works out.
Right.
But if it don't, at least I can say I had the experience. And like I said, for us who sit behind these microphones, this is a very unique experience. Everybody doesn't have that experience.
Right. Everyone thinks it's easy.
Oh, and then that is not either. Now, we may make it look easy, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it is easy. I mean, it does, like anything else, you have to do your homework. One of the things that I'm sharing with the teachers is in terms of planning. You're going to put the time in one way or the other, whether you do it up front with the planning or you do it on the back end having to deal with the behavior and bored kids and everything else. The same thing goes with what we do.
Yes.
You plan it. I mean, I'm booking dates now for October, November, and December of guests coming in.
Yes.
I mean, and it's so funny because I will book a guest now like, wow, that's not until October. And before you know it, October's here.
I know, because I'm up to September. And then and it's so funny. I love my people.
Right.
Somebody called me last week and said, "Oh, I can come to your show. I'm freed up this week." I said, "Well,
no, it doesn't work that way."
Sorry to let you know, but I'm actually booked till September. This is real. That's really
absolutely
a show.
right.
Like, we don't just bring people in. Go try to find them outside. Could you come?
Right.
So it's just funny, but yeah, it's planning. Definitely,
no, it really is.
Definitely,
and I'll tell anybody, planning is not my favorite activity, but I do know things work out so much better when I do. So what I started doing every year, I always keep a calendar or either a list of my guests. But this year, I've really gotten into the Google products.
Okay,
so
I need to do that.
On Google Sheets, which is a part of Google Docs, it actually has a calendar feature. Mm-hmm. And I plug all my guest names in there, and that keeps me exactly. I can look at that in one shot to see where everybody is. Like I could see now you were due today, and what I usually do is I let the guests, I'll email them or text them whatever the night before just to remind them.
Right.
Maybe 2 nights, but usually it's the Friday before. Mm-hmm. But it does take plan. And Ericka's right. We're not just taking walk-ons.
Right.
We
This is real. It's so funny.
But people do think
and
that.
Look, and now this is another reel for me. You're giving me a reel that you're going to share on my page.
Right.
So I didn't have to do my own interview. Now you've allowed me to have another thing to use,
No, it's absolutely right.
To share.
Right.
Because
we do that whenever when we do the interviews together and we're live and we Facebook them, and then now we share them with the world.
Right.
And again, it's another opportunity for promote.
Yes.
And like she said, it's not a matter of just walking up. Can I be on the show? I mean, for me, and Ericka's probably similar. Just about anybody can be on there. It's just a matter of planning of when.
Right.
Like I said, I know my days I'm not going to be here in the studio, so I don't want anybody walking up here and I'm not here.
Right.
And I know the days when I'm going to be in. And most of the time, and social media has been a wonderful tool for getting in touch with people to be guests.
Right.
Right. I've been able,
Definitely.
I think we might even talked about it a little bit on your show one time in terms of it's something about social media that people respond to. I don't care how big they are.
Right.
I don't care how high profile they are, where they are in the world.
Yes.
What's her name? That used to be on Entertainment Tonight. Sean Robinson. I think that's her name. Is it Sean? I think it's Sean. I think I don't know which one of those shows it was on. I think it was Entertainment Tonight.
Okay.
But she and I have been going back and forth on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I happened to, she and a girlfriend had on Black and Gold, and I hit her up saying, you two look good in those alpha colors.
Right.
So now she hits back, I was an alpha queen at Morehouse University. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not surprised. But anyway, this is somebody that, they're TV people.
Yes.
Most of my guests I've gotten on here has been through social media, whether it's LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, what have you.
It is. I don't know what it is about it, but it kind of, everyone, I guess you feel like a little a kid, like with a toy when you go on Instagram. You know what I mean? It kind of levels the playing field.
It really does.
You know, even though, like you said, no matter who you are, but we're all seeing the same stuff. We're reposting. You know, you see the same post sometimes over and over again.
Right.
So we all are kind of like in the same room when we're on social media. So I guess that does, you know, break down some of the barriers, which is good.
Kimberly Fulcher, good morning to you. Joseph Peterson, good morning to you. Yeah, see, even the names come up.
Right.
Yes. There is no such thing as privacy. Big Brother is watching.
Yes,
so if you're tuned in, I know you're looking. So here we go. So Kimberly Fulcher, Kim is a longtime friend. Actually, her grandmother, aunt, trying to think of the relationship, but anyway, that was my first piano teacher. Kim and I used to take piano lessons together. So good morning to you, Kim. Joseph E. Peterson, my fraternity brother, my crazy fraternity brother, good morning to you. And anyone else who's listening whose name I don't see popped up on here, good morning.
And then of course we lose touch with people. You know, without social media, we would not know half of the things. We would miss a lot of the events, you know, but some people just we don't want to know everything you've had.
Yes, they abuse it.
Breakfast, lunch, snack,
right,
dinner. Right. You know, I'm going to the bathroom now. Okay, thank you for that information.
Yeah, there is such thing as TMI.
Right.
Yes, even with social media, there's TMI. Yes, it is. See, I cook every now and again, so a lot of times whenever I cook, I'll take a shot of what I'm cooking. But I even stopped doing that. I'm like, why do people care? I stopped doing it.
I mean, there are groups for that, though. You know what I mean? People that love to watch pictures of food. I'm sure there's a group for that. Posted in that group. You know what I mean? They'll appreciate it.
You know what? There are groups for everything. You're right. Find your niche.
Go there with that. Yeah.
People
and then
because
sometimes the food doesn't look good.
Yeah, well,
I'm like, I can't like that because I wouldn't even eat that.
You see, you ain't right. But she right. You are. There's a lot. Not just food don't look good.
Right. Okay.
See,
we're trying to be
there.
nice.
I know. We with our boo on the beach. I know.
Yes,
she didn't need that on. He know he didn't need that on.
Yes. I'm telling you.
So what's going on with it? We said we were kind of like dish the dirt a little bit. What current event was? When I was on her show, the whole Aaron Hernandez thing was going on.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So now that's kind of died down.
Right.
I mean, it's like if you read his story or know anything, he just ultimately had a pitiful life. I know he made choices, and I know ultimately it's his choice, but there was a whole lot going on. But the only thing that I always just get so confused with, if I get to that point where I'm a pro football player and I'm making that kind of money, I think my choices will get okay.
I'm telling you, I don't understand it either. You know, some people are given opportunities and they mess them up. You know, some people are given opportunities and they hit it out the ballpark. You know, I mean, just in watching the game last night, you know, I just don't understand how, no matter what team you want to win.
Who won? Because I've watched
Cleveland
one game.
won.
Cleveland did win that one.
Yes,
all right, I
so
watched the first game because my daughter came over and said, Dad, you want to watch? I hadn't watched basketball all season.
Okay.
And she said, Dad, you want to watch it? Yeah, okay. We ordered a pizza and we watched the first game. I haven't watched it anymore.
I don't watch the whole, you know, I kind of wait till the end. But, you know, it's so funny how Kobe.
What's his name? LeBron?
Yeah.
Right.
LeBron, you know, he's outside of being a basketball player, he is a really stand-up guy.
Yeah,
you know, he's really doing a lot for people. He's giving back to the community. He's allowing people, you know, he's giving them education. And I talked about this yesterday on my show. Not just cars.
Right.
You know, but people find the
right.
littlest things to have a problem with you when they should be celebrating this man for all that he's doing, you know, for other people. Right. It's kind of like, I don't understand, you know, talk about his game as a player, but don't assassinate his character.
Well, I tell you what, for me, I'm wishy-washy with LeBron. There's times I love LeBron, times I hate LeBron.
Okay, so maybe you can explain
that. No, what I'm talking about
in
terms of...
does that mean we have a caller or no?
you know what? It could be, or it could be, because at this time I have a segment where it's kind of like the morning announcements.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to see if that's her, and if it is her, I'm going to ask her to suspend it till next week.
Okay.
Good morning. You're on WP 88.7 FM.
Well, praise the Lord. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Gloria, but I tell you what, I have a guest live in the studio, so can we suspend the announcements for this morning?
No problem.
All right. How's everything going?
Oh, I've been through the journey, funerals and everything. That's why I didn't get to you last week.
Right, because I know we didn't talk last week either, and I figured whenever I didn't hear from you, I knew something was up.
Yep.
So I tell you what, we'll get together next week, God willing, because I have my guest in the studio, and we only got another 20 minutes to go.
Gotcha.
All right, thank you, dear.
Bye-bye.
Bye now. If you two want to call, because you know that's Gloria Hallelujah. She joins me as she's a part of the show every week at this time where she lets you know what's going on in the gospel community. But you just heard me ask her, see if we can suspend that this morning since I have Ericka here in the studio. But back to what we were saying.
Okay.
LeBron's game, have no problem with it. Where he throws me every now and again is whenever he gets like the baby attitude when they lose.
Okay.
That's where he throws me. Other than that, I mean, the other day, if I could have ran up to him and shook his hand whenever he responded to the whole thing, because I think talk about current issues.
Right.
Somebody spray painted nigger in front of his house.
Right.
In front of his house.
Yes.
And his response was so on point when he says, you know what, no matter how much fame, no matter how much money you have, it's still being tough to be black in America.
Right.
So it really doesn't matter. And then he went on to do a little history lesson, which I really could have went up and said yes, because he said, I really need folks to understand this is why Emmett Till's mother left that casket open. For the world to see what they had done to her son. I said, go ahead, LeBron, give him a history lesson.
Right.
So there I thought, like, those time I loved him, and then there's time whenever they lose and he gets babyish and tantrums and all that. That's whenever I'm like, come on, LeBron, man up.
Right.
But other than that, no. Yeah. I mean, he has done in terms of, you're right, he's not just about the bling.
Right.
He has, and it's not necessary that he's out there necessarily bragging about what he's in, but it is out there in terms of the scholarships.
Right.
A lot of kids are going to college because of LeBron. I mean, he's giving full scholarships.
Yes.
He is. So I'm with you there. In terms of giving back, they do need to highlight more, because they do highlight the tantrums a lot. They do highlight the baby actions, or, some of his commentary that might be off, because even the commentary about the nigger being written in front of his house didn't get as much play as it ought to.
Right.
It should have got a whole lot more play than that.
Yes. Because
his message was right on point. It does not matter your status. If your skin is dark, there are challenges there.
They don't, the people that would write that, right, don't want to see this man successful.
Right.
So they're not going to say, oh, let's not do that to LeBron. He's a millionaire. He's made it. Yes, we're happy about that.
No,
they're not going to be happy about that.
No, you're not going to see that. No. There is a book that I just started reading called White Rage. And if you start reading that, it'll tell you why that'll never happen.
Right.
It's called White Rage. I just started. I was talking earlier about the book I was reading about the joy. I tell you, I'm always in between, anywhere between 20. I used to say 20 books, but the number has risen because I have over 200 books on my iPad.
Oh my!
And
goodness.
so I'll start it, put it down, start another one, put it down, start. So now I'm probably anywhere between 20 and 50 books easy. I can easily probably say that if I look in my iPad, because it tells you the percentages of what you've read in the book.
Okay.
If I open my iPad and look at it, each book has like 2%, 20%, 53%, 73%. So, I'm between a lot of books, and I'm okay with that. I really am, because each one educates me in a different way. But the one I just downloaded last week is called White Rage.
And it's so funny how you can pick up something at the right time.
Yes.
It's kind of like it's relative to what you're going through at the time.
Yes. And see, that's spirit.
Right.
There's no
spirit.
that's because spirit. The book that I downloaded, I was just telling you about with Desmond Tutu and Dalai Lama. I was at a meeting up here at William Patterson the other night, and there was a lady around the table. She was giving a report, and she referenced that book. And when she referenced it, I jotted it down real quick, because that's what I usually do. When somebody say anything about a book, I write it down. She referenced the book, and I wrote it down, and I looked it up. And sure enough, the book was right on time. And so, the same thing. That's White Rage. I found out about that through Pinterest.
Oh, okay.
I was going through Pinterest, and the book and the picture popped up, and I said, that looked like it might be interesting. Looked it up again.
Right.
So the way we find out about books and TV shows and radio shows, that's spirit.
Right. Absolutely. And, there's enough time for everything.
It is.
And the more that you are able to do, it seems like it's just a matter. It really is organizing. It might be, for me, it's a little unorganized organization, but it's still organization. You know what I mean? If I'm able to do these things, I've got to be somewhat organized.
It's
every
unorganized, organized, or organized, unorganized, whichever way you want to look at it.
Right.
No, and I'll tell you why you're right there. Because if you were to come into my office, I have piles of paper. I always had, just like I have it in mine, I've always had piles of paper on the floor. I call them my floor files. Mm-hmm. But if anybody coming in asks me for anything, I know exactly which pile to go to. And people coming in looking at it like, gee, that looks unorganized. Yes. No. Don't touch that.
I know.
Because I know where things are based on where I put them.
That's the same with me. Now, I'm doing something similar, as a director. And I was like, wow, can I do this?
Oh, yeah, you
know what I mean? And I have to keep track of, with 4 C's and whose contract is ending. When they call me, I know exactly where to go.
That's exactly right.
I know exactly where to go.
I have piles sitting behind my desk, sitting behind my chair, and if somebody calls for something, I'll just turn around, I'll look through there, and
it's funny. It's like your brain is like a camera, though.
Right.
Because once you see it and you put it somewhere, and then you have to go back to reference, it really is in your mind what you did with it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely right.
It's called memory, but
it is. All right, we're going to take a very short break. I'm just going to go open the door to make sure Barry can get in because he has the show at 9 o'clock. I just want to make sure he can do that. So I'm going to let the music play a little bit. And then the last 15 minutes, I'm going to let Ericka promote. We've kind of been promoting the whole time, but I'm really going to let her promote the last couple of minutes of the show. So hang out. Let somebody know that Ericka's on the line with me for another 15 minutes or so. All right, I just had to run very quickly and make sure that Barry's able to get in whenever he gets here. Got a chance to see the camera. I remember those days with the big camera, the big VCR camera, whenever somebody would be recording something and they would move all over the place. Well, I know that's what you probably just experienced just now. I told Ericka, I didn't want to turn it off because then we got to start all over again. And those of you who are tuned in, I didn't want you to lose it. So I quickly handed her the phone for a minute and went out and opened the door. But then she was saying she was looking to see if anything's going on with current events. And I just posted earlier this morning, the current events that's going on in Washington, because it's so chaotic every day, it's beginning to get boring. It's beginning to get boring to keep talking about how bad President Trump is doing.
Right.
It really is. I mean, maybe that's what he wants. Maybe he wants it to normalize, and then people will not notice it anymore.
Right.
And then that way they can keep doing it. Because the other day, while Comey was testifying, they were passing some bill that's not going to be the most beneficial for folks. Now, see, folks didn't hear nothing about that bill.
Right.
I forget what the name of it was. You have to go, if you go back in the newspaper or if you go back on social media, it tells you. But while everybody was distracted with Comey, the rest of the Congress who wasn't there at the questioning were back there passing some law. Now, maybe that's Trump's strategy is let's distract and then do what we want to do. And people won't even and people won't even realize that we did it because they were so busy focusing on the foolishness. And so it's almost like I said, because the last couple of weeks during the commentary section, I've been, really kind of having a ball with what's going on in Washington. And I said, it's beginning to get boring. It's beginning to get old. It's beginning to get tired.
I mean, it seems as if he's just going to get away with it.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. There you go.
That's my summation.
Yep.
Because all the uproar doesn't seem to be doing anything.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. No matter who protests, no matter who does this, no matter who does that, it doesn't.
Right.
And so, and that might be, distract. Everybody's focused on something that really don't matter, while the stuff that really matters is going on, and we can't see it.
That's right. Absolutely.
So let me see what's going on in the TV world.
What do you think about Brad Pitt finally apologizing to Jennifer Aniston?
And you know, Jennifer Aniston is one of my favorite actresses. I just can't imagine. She has got to hold the record of magazine covers. She's got. Yes. I mean, because there's not over the last
you
20
into the grocery store
over the last 20 or so years or more. There's not one day, like you said, that you don't go into the grocery store and she's not on somebody's magazine,
cover.
Right? But she is one. I mean, I personally think she's very attractive.
Yeah, she's a pretty woman.
She is one of my favorite actresses, and apparently, because Brad and Angelina, the headline I saw on one of the rags was, you know, like he gave her hell and this, that, and the other. So I said, you know what, the issue must be Brad. Because apparently you got two, you had Jennifer and you had Angelina. You couldn't make it with either one of them. Something's wrong with that.
Right.
That's the way I feel about Halle Berry. Like, Halle, you have all these brothers and you can't make it with none of them.
Right.
I don't care how fine you are. Like you said, going back to the looks, it's not all about looks.
No.
It's really not. But yeah, it's him. You know, I've come to that conclusion. It's like, all right, when him and Jen first didn't make it, like, all right, you know, all right, he's going with Angelina. They were on a movie together. Things got hot. And, okay. But now she's coming out with her accounts. So I was like, it's him.
Right.
That's the common denominator. It's him. So Brad has issues too. I ain't mad at him, Brad. He got issues like everybody else, but Brad has issues. He does. He does. But yeah, you know what? I'm quite sure I don't know. Cause I honestly do think she loved him.
Yes.
I don't think she's been right since they broke up. I really don't.
Yeah. It's so hard to, you know, to be in that situation and then have to watch. You know, it's bad enough when you break up with somebody and, you know, you probably won't run into them that frequently. Right. You know what I mean? Because they're going to stay away from where they're not going to go where you go anymore, especially if they have someone else. But to have to see him everywhere with her, you know, that must have been really hell for her. Right. You know, and I'm sure she was happy when they broke up. No matter, you know, whether you want him or not, you might be over the fantasy of we're going to get back together, because I'm sure in the beginning she's like, oh, this has got to be, he's gonna call.
Right. And I honestly think she was like that. I mean, like I said, I know a lot of celebrity breakups, this and that, but I honestly think she took hers to heart. I think she took her, because in my mind, she never really did get right. She really didn't. So I'm quite sure she feels a little bit vindicated, kind of like, aha, it wasn't me.
Exactly.
Because now the same thing has happened to her.
Right.
And so, you know, but you know,
she should give her a call. Are you okay?
See, I told you ain't right.
You need something, honey? He left you. Oh, you poor thing.
I told
My
you
heart
ain't
bleeds for you.
If you just joined us, Georgia Hankins, good morning. I see you joined us as well. Good morning to you. We're down to the last couple of minutes of the show. We flipped the formats this morning. I gave you the gospel music early from 6 to 8. And then Ericka joined me, and we've been on now for the last 52 minutes. We're down to the last few minutes of the show. And I always give my guests the opportunity to promote. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to close out as I normally do, and then I'm going to turn the microphone over to Ericka, and she's going to let you know about everything she's got going on and how you can tune in, how you can get her books, so forth and so on. So I'll tell you what, may you live as long as you want to, not want as long as you live. Live each day as if it were your last, because one day, it doesn't matter who you are, it will be. That's my normal closeout. With that being said, Ericka, you get a chance to promote. You can say anything with the exception of a dollar amount. But anything other than that, it's yours.
All right. So my name is Ericka Monique Williams. That is my name on Facebook. I also have my fan pages for my film production company, which is EBoogie Films. So I have an EBoogie Films page. I have a Boss Lady Chronicles radio show page. You can check out my live clips from my show. You can catch my show on Friday mornings at njwebradio.com from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can order my books on Amazon under the name of Ericka, spelled Ericka Williams. And on Saturdays, you can catch me at truthvibetv.com, channel 1. That would be Saturdays from 5 to 7. If you are an Instagram person, you can catch us at chicks_and_flicks, and chicks and flicks are spelled without the K. So it's CHICS and FLICS. Also, Boss Lady Radio Show with all underscores between. So boss_lady_radio_show. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for coming back. I tell you, we've collaborated now, and this is the fourth time, as she said. For her being here, it's been a 15-year hiatus. Yes. And I was in her show twice this year down in the studio for NJ Web Radio. And we really do have a good time.
Together.
We really
do.
We
worked well together when we were
that's true.
teaching.
Whenever we were teaching together, we really did.
You know, we didn't fight.
No, we didn't.
You know, because we were we had two separate language arts classes.
Right.
But we really were colleagues, and we worked together.
We did.
That's
and
great.
Every time Ericka and I were together, I always share this story with her in terms of we had this kid. His name was Knowledge. I'll never forget that story because it's funny as heck to me.
Yes.
The kid's name was Knowledge. And he comes to my class one day, and he says, Miss Williams called me a moron. I said, what do you mean Miss Williams called you a moron? What did she say? So I go to Ericka. I said, Ericka, Knowledge said you call him moron. She said, I didn't say he was a moron. I said his name was oxymoronic. He was an oxymoron.
Yes. I guess he gave me the inspiration for my tagline for my show, because giving knowledge and inspiration for elevation. So I was trying to tell him, step your game up,
exactly
Knowledge.
Right. His name,
step your game up.
His birth name on his birth certificate was Knowledge.
Absolutely.
And she said, that's an oxymoron.
Yes.
And he came to me and said, Miss Williams called me a moron.
That's so funny.
But that story tickles me. It's really funny. And again, it's a play on words. So clearly, he did not know what an oxymoron was. It's like hot ice. It's the opposite.
Right.
He clearly didn't know what that is. But like she said, we had a blast when we were teaching together. The few times that we've collaborated on various radio shows, as you can see this morning, as you can see from the Facebook post, we have a really good time together. We bounce ideas off of each other.
Yes.
Wish each other the best. Thank you so much for coming out this morning, because she early morning don't work for her. She was like, what? What? You said 8. I said, no, I said 6. I said, no, actually, I said 7:30.
Right.
But she said, all right, so we did 8. We did fine. Yes. All right. Well, I tell you what, I don't know what the rest of the day is. I don't know if you're going to go back to bed or what you got planned, whatever, but enjoy whatever's left.
Thank you so much.
All right. I'm getting ready to finish up. Those of you on Facebook, thank you again for tuning in. All right, I'm going to turn the mics over shortly to Barry. I'm going to get everything out the computer, everything I need to shut down, get him ready to go. But
what's the name of his show?
He is the Naked Brunch. They play old school music. He plays the old school music. So, all right. I already closed out for you. As I always say, you know what, because, time is fleeting. Whatever it is you want to get done, like Ericka and I said, go ahead and get it done, because life is short. And for those of you who want to do more than one thing, go ahead and do them. Those of you who want to concentrate on just one thing, you can do that too. All right. Take care. Enjoy. Have a wonderful, blessed week. Next week, I have the nephew of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He will be my guest as Isaac Newton Farris Jr. He is Martin's sister's child, and he was born 1962, the same year I was born. He's the same age, and he said Martin to him was just a fun uncle. So he's going to be with me next week. Make sure you are tuned in.